Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to the weekend preview, and finally we can kiss these buys goodbye after this week. It's been a tough 3 weeks and the third week could potentially be one of the toughest as North Melbourne have the bye. Brisbane, Geelong, the Giants, Freo and Hawthorn. Now, what does that look at? Obviously Goldstein, Rockcliffe, Rich, Dangerfield, Selwood, Bartel, the likes of Shaw, Shield, maybe Toby Green could be in there as well. Sam Collins for Fremantle will definitely be one that a lot of people have, and it's just good coverage. And of course the Hawks, not a stack with the Hawks considering they're such a great side, but still not stacks. I'll run through the notable team changes, and look, it was pretty kind, I must say. I had a bit of a look last night. There's nothing too groundbreaking from memory, just going through them now. Nothing too interesting out. Of course, yesterday's game doesn't really matter talking about it now. This was as quick as I could sort of get it in. Nothing of interest there. Tom Lee came in, which helped my side, might help some others just for that coverage. He probably won't score that well. Johannesson comes back. Not many people would have him, but he could be that potential option once if he starts slow. Just looking through, Silvani's been named, more returns. It's pretty bruise free this week in reality. Looking at the extended bench there, so nothing too much to worry about there, guys, to be honest. As you can tell, preparation isn't at its finest. I'm relatively busy at the moment with the new job, but we're doing this one somewhat live. So what is this week all about? I feel like I'm repeating myself week in, week out. It's just get through the buys, Step one, do I have 18 players on the field? If you've got that, that's step one, and there's really only one step. Just make sure you can get 18 fielded. That's the most important thing. So if you can get that, then that's a great start. And step two might be, focusing on that more long-term plan. The short term is just get 18 guys. And if you can get that, no worries. You might be able to field 20, which is, that'll be a luxury. And you might be able to make some advancements as if the week was normal, just trading down a couple of guys. And I do think it is probably time to do that. There's a few players, McDonald and Tipping Woody of course played last night, but I think a few you should start be culling a few of these guys and making some cash, because it's where you want to be starting to make your move now. You get through the buys nicely and you're free after this, so start to really make that move. And don't be afraid to have 7, 8, 9 trades at this stage. I think that's fine. It might be cutting it slightly fine, but I think it's okay. As long as your side is basically complete. If you're down to 6 or 7 trades, you pretty much want your side to be complete, I'd say. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind. And I think, who should you bring in? Tom Phillips is a must-have, I think. While a lot of our guys, fellow cash cows, just flail at the moment, Ben Keys, Cade Stewart, just a couple of guys that I have, and probably a lot do. Thank goodness Collins went and scored 126. That could be just huge in making us 150,000 or so from him, at least, which that'll be great. Because, guys like Sam Reid, also got dropped. We've been dealt a bit of a, talking mid-life crises. We've got a bit of a mid-season crisis as such. It's not brutal, because I think it's a pretty tough part of SuperCoach is picking that next wave of good players to be at that cash cow price, because naturally there's not many, and a lot of players get a go throughout the year, but then they get dropped, like Stewart. Keys just has been playing, but he's scoring awfully. See what you can do there. I think obviously it's all about getting those 18 players, and then after this week we can finally relax. And it's easy to get down and out about what your SuperCoach side is, because you're going to have to cost another donut. You got this guy playing, or you'd rather be on your bench, So you can sort of be like, gee whiz, will this ever end? I personally just wish they'd take a week off, not even for SuperCoach purposes. It'd help, but I just think it makes more sense. It's nice and fair, play a showcase women's game on that weekend, play a Waffle v Victoria. You know, they had that competition with all the state leagues. Fixture it so the grand final ends up on this weekend. Have some sort of one-off showpiece game, and just all AFL guys take a bloody break, because it just throws around the fixture too much, and it's outrageous that they have this just terrible spread of games from Thursday to Sunday when we have 6 games. It's just ridiculous. But getting a little off topic there, I think. So as far as your captaincy and things like that, I think it's pretty straightforward, really. I mean, you're obviously going to look at Gary Ablett first off, and then probably into someone like Pendlebury, I think, would be likely. Gawn, who can go big, here's the last game, so you can't really risk him VC style. In tonight's game, well, Dusty Martin's been in amazing form, so you may think about that. Robbie Gray's always capable of going huge, but I think the obvious one is certainly Ablett into Pendlebury. Pendle's has got a fantastic record against the Blues, and, you know, Ablett's got a fantastic record against everyone, so I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. So to recap, if you can get 18 players, well done, because I think a lot of people potentially will struggle. Because, as I said, I know, just speaking from experience, you got no Shaw, no Bartel, no Rich or Collins. Now, I won't be the only one who's in that predicament for sure. If you're looking at guys to come in, then Jerry McVeigh in the back line, you know, he's an option. He's pumped out the 130 before the bye. Daniel Hanbury, I think, is at a good price. I think Parker still is. You know, and in that forward line, like I said, Montaigne's at an absolute bargain price. I still like Franklin as an option at that price, and Brett Deledio is pretty cheap for what he can produce, to be honest. And look, if you've got Nick Nat and you're going to hold off on Goldstein, I'd probably do the trade now. I just think if you're not doing too many trades, you'd hate for next week to come round and you're like, yeah, I'll just bring in Goldstein next week. Nick Nat's not changing. Goldstein's got the bye, all good. You don't want to be come next week wishing you had another trade on your hands. So just do it now. You're going to do it next week anyway. Make the trade, and then you just have 2 trades that you know you can make next week if it's required, you know, because you don't want to be looking at your side. The buys are finally gone. I trade in Goldstein, but all of a sudden the teams come out. You know, bloody Pendlebury's out for whatever reason, and, you know, Hanbury's rolled his ankle at training, and, you know, this other guy's dropped, and all of a sudden you want to downgrade this bloke, blah, 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 and you were wishing you did that trade last week to give you some flexibility. So, yeah, just a bit of food for thought. As far as my team, I will have a few struggles, I think. Probably looking at least a couple of donuts. I still am yet to assess how I'll be able to maybe find a mid-forward option to cover this, to cover that, you know, sort of thing. So we'll see how we go, but that's not what the weekend preview's about. We'll see how that all pans out early next week. But get in Tom Phillips. I think he's a must-have. He looked really good. Field 18 players if you can. Do your best, and then we can really start to dissect and, you know, really look forward and see how we're going to go from, you know, here onwards, really, because I think after these bye rounds, all of a sudden most teams will probably come together with 20-odd premiums, and then we can really look to finalise it and look really good, safe as houses. And I think, yeah, try and get in some cash cows and that, because we are struggling a little bit for cash generation, which is so important this time. But if you can get the likes of some good cash cows in, and I think Phillips is one, definitely do it. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of help, if not reinforcement, on what I've already stressed throughout the other bye rounds. They're all very similar, and it's a pretty simple philosophy, harder to do. So hopefully you can get through them nicely as the last week. So I'll see you guys early next week. All the best for the weekend, and have a good one.